Jill, let's start in Fulton County. The news today that witnesses have been called to testify before the grand jury next week. Talk both about the process, the timing. What are the final steps before they may deliver an indictment?
Well, the final steps are to have all the witnesses completed. And we are now seeing that there are some subpoenas for next week. So that means that it won't happen until at least after their testimony. But this does look like it's high-level witnesses. The lieutenant governor is going to testify on Tuesday. And so as early as Tuesday, we could have an indictment announced and possibly unsealed in Georgia. I'll have to wear my peach pin when that happens. But the process is that the grand jury, votes on the prepared indictment. They're shown what the laws of Georgia are, and they've already heard the facts from witnesses, and they see whether the facts support all of the charges that are labeled as the elements of a crime, and then they vote, and that's the end of it. And then it's handed up to a judge and filed with the clerk, and then notice is given to the defendant, or in cases where there's a flight risk, which I don't think Donald Trump is a flight risk for all the things I think of him. I don't think he's going to flee. He could be arrested if he was a flight risk, but otherwise he'll be notified and given a date to show up for another arraignment.
David,
and in this case, he's going to fingerprint him.
Forgive me, Jill. David, you know, there are a lot of elements of what is happening in Georgia that are very specific to Georgia. And among them is the fact that you are going to have Republicans taking the stand and testifying in this case. The fact that you have, I want to reread that quote to you, right? Duncan saying about Republicans should never let honesty be mistaken for weakness. I mean, that is anathema in today's Republican Party.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And, you know, this is also the grand jury that took testimony from Lindsey Graham and others. And so much like the Jack Smith indictment, we'll learn a lot about who said what about Donald Trump and the fake elector scheme. This is clearly moving in the direction it does appear towards an indictment. And I think politically, it's going to set the table now for what we have always anticipated, that Donald Trump will be entering a GOP primary with 4 indictments. Who knows if a trial could happen before the nomination is shored up in March or happens after. But this is now the field. The field is set. The table is set. And if you're anybody other than Donald Trump, you are running against somebody with 4 indictments, with Republicans continuing to say, yes, he's the guy that did this. The question is, will any of it resonate and hurt Donald Trump politically? We haven't seen that yet.
Jill, turning to the protective order that was issued by Judge Chutkan in Washington, D.C., there is so much about it that is unusual, not because of the nature of the protective order, but rather the nature of the person that the protective order is geared to, right? The number of guardrails that had to be put in place. What most stood out to you as you made your way through that protective order?
So, Alicia, you're right. This is not unusual. In almost every single trial, there is a protective order. What is unusual here is, number one, the warning that was given to Donald Trump and his lawyers about threatening witnesses and the prosecutor and possibly even the judge. That's unusual. And I think the other thing that stands out is that she was brilliant. Judge Chutkan, I think, did the most brilliant thing possible, which is to say, we've heard your statements, and if you continue to make these outrageous statements, I am going to move the trial date up every single time you do it. And that's because she was in a very tough place in terms of if she holds him in contempt as she would any other defendant. If she tries to hold him in custody and revoke his bail because of his behavior, it's going to look bad politically, and she knows that. But if she moves the trial up, that is a brilliant way of keeping him under control and having his lawyers try to prevent him from continuing to threaten people. So I thought she did a really clever and wonderful thing in making that statement. And I hope that it will stop him from what he has been doing, but I'm doubting that it will.